Hi everybody, this is David France. We're doing this podcast today from a beach in Dubai. I'm on the Palm, staying at a resort over here. So in the background, somewhere over there, you should be able to see the Atlantis Palm. So it's a fantastic location for this video and podcast. So make yourselves comfortable like I am and get ready for some good content as usual. So today we're going to be talking about international property, what better place to do it, and also working with developers and things like that, and doing deals overseas and why we do deals internationally, and also a couple of bits of what I've been doing while I've been here in Dubai. So let's start with that. So while I've been over in Dubai, I've set up some meetings with some developers and some investors. Wherever I go on holiday or business trips or whatever, I always set these meetings up with developers and things like that because we're doing deals worldwide. So what we're doing when we're doing international deals, we've got lots of buyers looking for deals on a regular basis, and when we can introduce the international flavour and some deals overseas, a lot of our buyers like it because they're all from different places anyway. We know what a good deal is and if it works for our investors. So the ones in Dubai, for example, how we selected a developer to work with was they had some very attractive payment terms. So we'd go on Rightmove overseas, for example. We'd put in the location, so this would be Dubai. We'd go to lowest price first and then we'd see what, if we're sourcing to order, by the way, we don't always go for the lowest price first. If we've got a buyer who's a very high net worth individual and they've got very specific requirements, we just go out and source to order. And you can use Rightmove overseas, you can obviously use your own channels, the marketing channels that we use to find the deals. So working with this developer, we found this developer who has attractive payment terms. So the payments are staggered. So there's like 10% now on reservation, and then there's 10% in a few months time, and then another 10%, and then another 10%, and then there's a balloon payment. So they're quite attractive to some of our buyers. And also there's good financing terms with the banks. They do international finance as well. So it ticks a lot of the boxes. So I set up the meetings, went along, got the marketing brochures, saw the little models of the development, which was really good. I found out what the availability is, and we need to create the scarcity because there is actually genuinely only 5 or 6 units that we've got allocated for us anyway, so there is the scarcity there anyway, and so that will help when we come to market these units. But really great doing these deals overseas because I got to check out the local area. That it was down in the marina of Dubai. So it was really good to see the product. The product's not finished yet, they're off plan. It's currently been built, and there's lots and lots of development going on in the marina. So they're extremely prime units, and over the long-term view, because we always take a long-term view with properties anyway, especially me as an investor, always look for the long term. I know with the development and what's going on in Dubai, this place is going to go crazy in the long term. Short term, there's obviously peaks and troughs. At the moment, the Dubai property market is flatlining. They had the crash. Now, it's not necessarily going right up, it's just flatlining, and it's stable. I've looked at all the stats and everything behind it. I spoke to the locals, spoke to many different people, and taken my own view on the market, and I believe it's flatlining, and then it's going to start to increase. Now, some people do have concerns about Dubai, so we need to, as property brokers, we need to make sure we satisfy their concerns and help them with that. So, with regards to the money and protecting it, in the old days of Dubai, when the markets were going crazy, people were flipping contracts, option contracts, and it was getting out of control, and that's when it caused the crash. So, and then obviously everything else happened, and it caused the whole bottom to fall out of the market. So what measures have they put in place to try and stop this happen again? All your money goes into an escrow account. So all your money goes into the escrow account. You stage payments, and the developer's only allowed to use 5% of your money at any one time, and that's for marketing costs. I think that's very fair, and they're held, in an escrow account. So your money is safe and secure until your property is built, and you get the handover with your keys. So that's the units in Dubai. We've got some of those to work out when we get home. Put them on the website, put them out to the list, and we'll get some eyes on it and get them promoted as well. So I think they'll be really good for people. And so yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about what I was up to in Dubai. I've also had some meetings with some investors. A chap from Abu Dhabi came over with his business partner, and we had a lunch meet over in JBR. So I don't know if some of you have been to Dubai, but JBR is where a lot of the Westerners hang out. So we went over there, had some lunch, discussed his property requirements, and his business partner wants to get involved. I told him some of the stuff that we're involved in the UK, and they were absolutely loving it because of the returns. They personally didn't want to invest here in Dubai. That was obviously my natural kind of pitch, really. I took along the brochures and just said, I can get you some of these units, they won't last long, that type of thing. So yeah, so set those up, and we've got a few other developers we're going to set some meetings up with as well, because I've seen some properties I like the way they're presented and the finance structures on them, so I'm going to do that. So as well, again, this is just going to be a very short podcast as usual, because I know people lose interest quite quickly, especially if you're at the gym, things like that. Most people just do short workouts these days, half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, so I'm just going to keep it short. But I just wanted to do this podcast today because I'm out in such a good location, and I wanted to explain what I was up to out here, just to give you guys an idea, if and just plant the seed, really, because some people think doing deals overseas is complex and things like that. But now I'm touching on that point, I wanted to also speak to you in this podcast just about international deals. We do a lot of international deals, as you know, and they're all on payment terms. So we don't usually get involved with cash deals because there's a lot of time wasters and things like that. So if we find properties in Spain, some of the depressed markets still in Europe, we're negotiating instalment contracts. So we agree to spread the balance over a certain period of time. So we'll approach a seller, or they'll approach us for some of our marketing, and we just say to them, would you be open to being paid your balance over 120 or 180 months? It's very simple, very straightforward. Now obviously there's a few elements you need to check. You need to check if there's a mortgage on the property. Now in 80% of the cases, believe it or not, in Spain, that's just one country for example, at least 80% of the sellers we come across via our marketing channels, the properties are unencumbered. So that's pretty, it's really good position, because if there's a mortgage on it, there's that risk that interest rates can go up, down and sideways, all that kind of thing. We don't really want to get involved with that. So if 80% of them are unencumbered and some of them don't need the money right now, then the natural solution is spread the balance. So they become the bank. I'm just going to grab some water a second because it's absolutely baking out here. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning here, and it's well into its 30s already, so please bear with me. So getting back to that, so the Spain deals and a lot of deals overseas, we like to do them on terms where the seller becomes the bank. Now you might ask about interest, or what happens with interest, that type of thing. Again, we like to just keep it simple. So we're just spreading the balance. If a seller says, oh well, what about interest? We say, well, how much do you want for your property? They say, oh well, I want this because I just want it for a quick sale. I say, well, if it wasn't a quick sale, what do you want for it? Well, I paid this for it and I want that. So there's a way sometimes you can actually agree a higher price to make them happy, so they're getting something over the long term. The buyer's still happy because he's getting it without bank finance, having to jump through all the bank hoops, without credit checks, without massive deposits in Spain. Some of the banks are asking for like 30-40% deposits. That's quite common internationally. Obviously, you do see the developments from time to time, which have got 100 to 110% finance, fees all included. They're usually developments where there's been a lot of repossessions. I'm not saying there's anything bad with that, we get involved with them as well. But usually you only get clusters in developments that have been repossessed. The banks offer the 110% finances to get them sold quickly because there's been some large debts on them and they want to get them sold off. So that's our model. Our model has always worked well. It's just very simple and straightforward. We're just spreading the balance over a set amount of time. Does it work for everybody? No, it doesn't. Does it matter? No, because we only need a few deals a month to make good money. We sell these deals for just saw a jogger go past. So yeah, this is obviously not a private beach, so we have got people going past. I'll probably get someone trying to sell me some coconuts or something in a moment, but so yeah, really good fun doing international stuff. You don't have to go out and view them. A lot of my stuff is done remotely. A lot of my property deals are done all remote, where I can just bridge a buyer and a seller's gap. As long as you've got your credibility indicators, we're a member of the Association of International Property Professionals and the Property Ombudsman, and it just gives you, all those badges give you so much more credibility to help you do more deals and negotiate with sellers. So some of the markets I've done internationally with payment terms and also like working with developers, things like that, is obviously Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Egypt, America, more specific in America, Florida, Las Vegas. We've done a lot in the Snowbelt districts, which is like your Buffaloes, which is North New York. So you've got New York State and it's next to Niagara Falls. We've done some deals there. They're very low priced and high yielding, but the capital appreciation just flatlines. So again, knowing your markets, doing deals in these countries, you'll get to know the markets and what works for certain investors, and what the some people just want to invest for cash flow. Some people want to invest because they like to say, I've got a property in America, that type of thing. But ultimately, it's a stable market, is America, in the sense of the legal system. The legal system is very similar to the UK. It's based on English law, and you can register contracts at Land Registry in a very similar process, very cheaply, the same as the UK, which can't be said for some of the other countries. There are some complexities, but our job as a broker is put the buyer and seller together, get them in with the solicitors, and everybody, as long as they're all represented, everyone knows what's happening, then that takes care of that. So our job is very simple and very high paid. We're just finding these motivated sellers, putting the deals together and offering them out to our buyers. And to find buyers for these deals isn't difficult, because who wouldn't want a property overseas for just our fee, which is usually 5k on average. We do charge more for like villas and things like that because they are quite rare to get hold of. A lot of apartments we get on because lots of people have bought apartments, and the monthly payments are usually a lot lower on the apartments because the purchase prices are lower, so everything makes sense really. So we can sell these quite easy for 5k plus your legal fees, and get them in with the solicitors, and the solicitors take care of the legals. So we're done, we're straight on to the next. Now obviously I did a short video a while back on deal progression as well. Deal progressions, you've got to be very careful once you're doing with solicitors. Don't just leave it at that and on to the next. You've got to still manage that deal while it's in the progression stage. That's a very key point, because once you're in with solicitors, not all solicitors communicate properly. And so, we use obviously very good solicitors because we've got a good power team around us. But sometimes a seller might like to use their own solicitor, for example, and we've got to make sure we manage that process, because deals can fall out any time if there's the slightest bit of communication breakdown. So a buyer might not get regular updates. He might think what's going on, or this deal isn't going to complete, so I want my money back. And all of a sudden he's going aggressively saying, oh, I want my money back, I want my money back, this deal's not going to complete. And if you'd have managed that properly and kept them in the loop on a regular basis, just an email every 2 or 3 days, just letting them know how everything's progressing, then that stops, usually stops those types of issues cropping up. Okay, so we've covered the Dubai markets, and me being out here and speaking to developers. We've covered working with some of the investors and just trying to establish what people are looking for and going out and finding that product, because everyone these days wants We deal with lots of sophisticated investors versus the traditional ones. Again, I'm going to do a separate video on that, but so go back and have a look on YouTube or the podcast. Let's see if you can find that one. But there's a big key difference between those two right now, and the traditional investor is just getting phased out, and it's about maximum leverage on your money and getting the most from that money you can possible. The markets are changing all the time, and we're staying ahead by educating ourselves. There's so many different strategies out there. We're doing UK installment doing UK lease options, below market value purchases. We're working with developers overseas, working with sellers overseas, and we feel that we're offering a real wide variety of products, because if one market crashes or dips, then we've got others that help keep us afloat during the bad times. And it's good to have that extra variety to your property business, rather than just focusing on below market value purchases. If the market crashes in the UK, then what's your next step? Well, I'm a property investor. So a lot of my obviously all my database and people I work with are all investors usually as well, unless they're buying for lifestyle overseas. Some of them do come off our marketing channels that aren't particular investors, but that doesn't matter. But being an investor means that we've got separate channels of income as well. So I'm not just relying on property brokering as my one source of income. We've got multiple channels of income, because why would I not take these deals? We get asked this so many times by a lot of investors. They say, these deals, why aren't you taking them if they're that good? That's a really good question, and my simple answer is I can't take them all, even though with the small amounts of money that are down. And if we're sourcing them ourselves, it's usually just our marketing we've got to cover, so we're not paying the 5k fees, but it's still, we've got to pay legal fees, and some of the deals don't tick our boxes. We've got to have cash flow, we've got to have the capital element there in the future, so we need long-term lease options, for example, or real good discounts on BMV properties up to sort of 30%, maybe more if possible. So that's my personal criteria. So everyone's got their own criteria. Okay, so I think for today we're probably going to leave it at that. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and yeah, just I want to get on with my day here in Dubai now, just enjoy some sunshine. So yeah, just have a think about the international stuff. Fantastic element to bring to your business, because it brings you out to locations like this, and just get on and find some deals.